Research by Milford Sillins Leithwood in 2003 found that school leadership that makes a difference, allowing a community to have focus and staff feeling valued, is transformational and distributed. Recent research by Harrison Chapman 2001, looking at leadership in schools facing challenging contexts, have shown that effective leadership in schools is tight on values, purposes and direction, but loose on involving others in leadership activity. The result of such leadership is clear direction and widespread involvement. The school I work at displays elements of this leadership philosophy. Milford, Sillins and Leithwood also continue to say the context and variables such as SES, home and education environment and school size have a clear interactive effect on leadership, the school and student outcomes. Reynolds, for example, is wary of any belief in one right way leadership, pointing out that socially difficult schools may involve leadership that is more initiated and more effective schools are more managing leadership style. I started working at my school this year in a full-time fixed-term capacity. I'm currently retraining as a reading recovery teacher, which is allocated 2 hours per day working one-on-one with lower-achieving 6-year-olds in an intensive accelerated reading and writing program. In my other hours at school, I provide classroom release for the 8 teachers in my school in blocks of 30 minutes to 1 hour, overseeing work activities prepared by the teachers. And have only recently returned to New Zealand after 14 years teaching in middle management and class teaching roles overseas. With much experience leading teams, I am also aware of time and place. I am very keen to be involved in my new teaching environment, but I'm also aware as a newcomer to the school and returning to New Zealand curriculum, there is a lot to learn and consider and take on board. In light of this, my leadership abilities are taking tiny steps forward and adding to the already rolling school-wide initiatives and staff developments programs that are being successfully implemented in my school. All the staff are very busy with implementing school change initiatives, so I decided to add value by taking responsibility for a small component of a change initiative within a wider change concept. Mutakaroa is the name of our school and community learning partnership, a new initiative at our school for 2015. Mutakaroa is about working with parents and whānau to understand how your child is progressing in their first 3 years at school. It is also about supporting parents to help their children in learning at home. Part of this program requires an assessment of an observation survey. This is required on entry to school at the age of 5, after 20 weeks, 40 weeks and 80 weeks at school. Previously, this assessment was only completed at the age of 6 years, after 40 weeks at school, by a senior teacher or reading recovery teacher. Due to the extra workload to achieve all these assessments, as an experienced administrator of the assessment tools, I was able to support the junior team in learning how to administer the assessment and interpreting the evidence. This evidence was then used for classroom practice and to inform the coordinator of the Mutakaroa program, who then informed the parents.
So the Mutakaroa coordinator and the junior team leader, which means I have multiple roles, and one of those is to oversee the assessment and testing data that needs to be collected. Because I'm so busy with my multiple roles, Carolyn offered to upskill all our junior teachers with how to conduct an observational survey. She was very happy to take on this role, and she worked with individual teachers, taking them through the observational survey, how to conduct the assessment. She gave them resources, she made up packs with them.
5 teachers from new entrants to Year 3 successfully learned how to administer the concepts about print and observational survey. The teachers were able to interpret the data, report back to the coordinator and use the information for their classroom practice. I decided to base my initiative on the situation leadership theory. Situation leadership refers to when a leader or a manager of an organisation must adjust his style to fit the development level of the followers he is trying to influence. With this, it's up to the leader to change the style, not the follower to adapt the leader's style. So in situational leadership, the style may change continually to meet the needs of the others. Hershey and Blanchard based their situational model on a two-dimensional model leadership that identified task and relationship as 2 primary concerns of leadership. They added a third dimension related to the readiness level of followers. At the initial meeting with the coordinator, I was able to assess whether I would need to take on a delegating, supporting, coaching or directing leadership style. Two of the teachers would require low supportive behaviour and low directive emphasis. I was able to delegate to them what they were required to do, and they were able to go away and start on with that process. It was agreed that the other three teachers and myself would coordinate a time and go through the assessment documents. I met with two of the teachers after school and we talked through the observational survey delivery along with support materials being provided in the form of a kit. One teacher was unable to make this meeting. This would have later consequences to my leadership style. During this meeting, it was very early on, prior to the critical time frame of when the observation survey needed to be administered. At this point, I was taking a supporting role in the initiative with low directive and high supportive behaviour.
For your support, it was really good, really helpful, and you took time to ask questions, and we also had time to ask you questions, so it made it really clear.
And did you feel comfortable in the meeting we had initially?
No, not initially. It was quite fast, and I couldn't quite get the idea of. Well, I knew what was supposed to be done, but I couldn't actually relate it to what I had to do.
And find out more.
Oh yes, I knew I could ask questions, and I could ask more.
As time went by and the deadlines increased for the time when the assessments were needed, I discovered that a coaching style was going to be more relevant for the teachers.
Yes, the trouble was that at the time that you need more help is when you're actually doing the interview and you realise it's going pear-shaped and it's taken half an hour more than it should, and you've already messed it up.
This coaching style had echoes of Goleman's coaching style. It also had links with Goleman's pace-setting style of leadership due to the tight timeframes we were working in. The teachers identified that a demonstration along with the video would be a helpful way to get them started and provide clarity. We're going to read this book. Can you show me the front of the book?
So I needed to learn how to do an observational survey, and I couldn't be at the school meeting one for it, so Caroline saw me in one of my lunchtimes with one of my students and taught me how to do the concepts about print sheet, letter sounds, the BERT word reading, and the writing activities, and videoed that, and that's been really helpful for me in doing them with my children in the class.
Patty Chance in 2013 identified that the major contribution of contingency situational theories in educational settings is the identification of a variety of factors that interact with the leadership style and resulting effectiveness of the leader. Conditions related to task, teacher attitude and external factors must be considered when determining the most appropriate leadership style for a particular situation. In this case, it was not only a matter of the ability and willingness, but also the availability, time and priority, environmental pressures and demand. In retrospect, the time that we had the initial meeting for the supportive group was possibly too early for the teachers to be taking on board. It was also bad timing because the holidays were due to start and the information they needed was not really required until the following term. The teachers were also preoccupied with other school-wide initiatives that were taking priority in the school at the time. On reflection, providing the video for the teachers at the initial stages of the initiative would have been a sensible idea. This way the teachers could have actually worked with each other, explored the video and then trialled without maybe the delay that
I
was
came and saw you
involved.
again a few weeks later on, and
I found it a little bit confusing because there were different titles of books there, and I didn't realise that it was a one-size-fits-all type pack. But now that I've seen you model it, I can see how that works. Yeah.
I could have also incorporated a delegated style where the teachers who knew how to administer the program could have worked alongside the teachers who didn't and supported each other in this process. Patty Chance says that the choice of leadership style or leader depends on the situation and organisational conditions. She also says that from a leadership perspective, organised change theories recommend the establishment of procedures that involve teachers and others in problem identification, problem analysis and problem solving. An OECD 2001 9-country study on innovative initiatives in school management concluded that To adapt innovations to a particular school setting, education leaders should involve stakeholders in conversations about organisational beliefs, values and norms. All those involved in the change process must have a clear vision for their school and see how the innovation fits with their belief system and how it will help them attain their desired outcomes. This requires a high level of participation from teachers, parents, students and community, and is a time-consuming process. Interweaving this theory into my change initiative would have had greater benefits in all areas for all involved. In a sense, every teacher is a school leader. It is striking how frequently team working is cited as a key ingredient to the success of new approaches to school management. They've pointed out that in such learning organisations, individuals and teams become reflective practitioners and are able to review their own situations and deal with their own problems or challenges as they arise.